Good morning. I'm Bob Renjilian. I'm minister at this fine Unitarian Universalist congregation. I use he, him pronouns. I welcome all of you here today. I recognize so many faces, and I see one or two faces I probably should recognize, and I've forgotten. And I think I see somebody that I don't recognize, and since I can't tell the difference between the person I should know I recognize and those I don't, I'll just say welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. I have a few announcements, and then we'll get into the service. We have just come through Halloween, and some of you may have dressed up, done things, turned on or off your porch light to welcome or not welcome mischief makers, handing out candy. Halloween, of course, has its origins in the ancient Gaelic festival known as Samhain, meaning end of summer. And the festival of Samhain is a celebration of the end of the harvest season in Gaelic culture, frequently regarded as the Celtic New Year. We recognize the world's religions and the roots of many of the religions in what we celebrate as Unitarian Universalists, and so I brought that out as one of our first announcements this morning. We have various handouts and things for you. One, ushers now have at their stations leftovers of the Get Out the Vote postcards. Should you need to put that on your refrigerator and say, remember, go, if you don't already. How many of you have already gone? Let's put it that way. Yeah. Okay, we've done pretty well. Something I read. Yes, Victoria. 61% of registered voters already went in this county. And I think that's true across many of the counties. Something I read said 80% of the 2022 turnout has already been reached. The complete turnout, yeah. So we're on track. Unitarian Universalists have a strong history and tradition based on how we grew out of the American culture of making our own decisions, that promoting democracy and the voice of everyone. We run our congregations democratically. We encourage folks to get out and vote. Those who are eligible to register, to go out and register. And I've noticed petitions from time to time to get people on a ballot, to have people accessing the political process. It's just something that we have always felt, both rooted in our religious tradition and in our citizenry and our engagement in society, that it's important. So those postcards are there for the few of you who need a reminder, or those of you who don't need a reminder, to give it to somebody you know. Don't mail it. It's got to be sent to Greenville and South Carolina and back again, and by then it'll be, I don't know, what month? But go ahead and hand it to somebody if you want. For those of you who are feeling anxious, needing this chance for prayer, it's good you're here this morning. This morning's service is on preparing to repair. But I am part of an ecumenical group of religious leaders in this town, and we agreed, yes, we'll take different days to have noontime prayer services. And so on Monday, it's the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd at noon. Monday night, if you want to go to the Exposition of the Blessed Sacrament at Sacred Heart Roman Catholic Church, you can do that at 7 to 9. Tuesday at noon, Brevard First United Methodist Church. Wednesday, we will have an early service over for healing prayers and Holy Eucharist over at St. Philip's, and then noon we're hosting the post-election noontime prayer service. We can pray for all of us, and even as 50% of the American population will be upset. Actually, probably 100% of the American population will be upset because it won't even be figured out by that point. Is that scheduled? We have had it out in emails. I think it was out in the Friday email. It's also, I think, listed in the lobby. And you know what? That's needing the reminders. That's exactly right. All of us need the reminders for these things. There is a handout, a worksheet on the counter. I didn't hand it out for everybody in your seats here, but it's something for you to think of, and we can run more if we run out. But you know how I hate to kill trees? We only made about 25 of these. If we need 4 times that many, okay, we'll make it. But this is called Before, During, and After Election 2024 Self/Community Care Worksheet. Ask things like, name who and what you cannot control. Name and who and what you can control. Name what will you need to feel safe mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. What grounds you and helps you center? List the resources, music, films, activities, etc. Who can you check in with? There's a whole bunch of things. All 5 senses. 3 things you'll do if your chosen candidate is elected. 3 things you will do if your chosen candidate is not elected. If you think about it on Sunday, you might be ready on Tuesday and Wednesday and all of that. We have Wonderful Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but the Wednesday after, for those of you who want to come for a wonderful pop, jazz, and blues duo. If you are coming to the dinner, please sign up on the counter or on Realm Online or call in so we can get you on the list. We just like to have a count of how much food to make. There is no need to sign up for the 6:30 part, which is the concert. If you're not familiar with our Wonderful Wednesdays, they are on Wednesday evenings, and they are wonderful. We're pretty transparent about that. Okay. We prepare the food, we arrange the entertainment, and all you have to do is warm a seat. Let's see. There were 2 other announcements I was going to make. Nancy, yeah.
I'm Nancy Richards. I'm the president of the board.
Here, if you're going to say a little bit, you do this.
Thank you. I'm Nancy Richards. I'm the president of the board. And the board was talking about the fact that, we might want to have some other gathering later when we know about the results of the election, if we feel like we need to be together and talk to each other as Unitarian Universalists. So we've tentatively reserved some space here and some time 1 week from the election on the evening of the 12th, Tuesday the 12th. I'm not sure we'll have this gathering or not, but after the election and after you've thought about it for a few days, if you feel like you absolutely need to have a gathering, get in touch with anybody on the board and just tell them that. And we will figure out how to make it happen.
And the other thing that was asked is there will be some people around here who may say, hey, can I gather with you on Tuesday? Can I connect with a friend? Can I have somebody so I'm not just sitting alone watching a TV set? Please reach out to one another. I remember one of the 2 announcements. We have 2 raffles going on. We have the last day of the bike raffle. If you want the e-bike, or if you want to buy a ticket and put it in that Sharing House will get the e-bike, so that it could go the Wheels to Work program that they run. Don't say that. Jackie, I would not make you feel guilty. That's just an option. Many options. So the last day of the bike raffle, you like that nice, pretty-looking e-bike out there. And the other is we launched at the Halloween Fest the Dinner for Two anywhere in the world. You'll be seeing more about it, hearing more about it. Think of where you want to go in the world and maybe buy a $20 ticket, and you might be one of 1,000 tickets, and you win, and then you tell us where you're going, and we'll get you there. Well, we'll buy the airfare and 2 nights hotel stay and pay for the dinner, but you got to pay the Uber and the tourist trap stuff and all the other stuff. Thank you. I'm going to turn to our candles. Disaster recovery, just to remind you, just up the street. Really, if you go out this way, a block and a half, 2 blocks, FEMA is open 7 days a week. And maybe you don't need to know that, but you probably know a neighbor or friend who needs to know that. There's a whole lot of good that could be done by knowing that. Thanks. Thanks for putting that up. Gypsy, will you help me with candles? Thank you. Oh, okay. I can help you out here. Are you good with matches? Good, because I'm not. I can do lighters.
I can't do lighters.
This is why we have a worship team. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. You got it. We'll start with a candle of healing for Bruce Tuxhorn, who signed as a new member last Sunday after the orientation. He had surgery on Wednesday. Yeah. I saw a note that no calls or visits at the moment, please, but cards would be appreciated. We send prayers out that way. I would like to light a candle of empathy for the deadliest flash floods in Spain's modern history that have killed at least 214 and dozens unaccounted for after the torrential rain swept the region of Valencia. Oh, and would you light a candle for Liam? Liam's one of the kids we know here at UUTC, struggling with, I don't know if it's COVID or a walking pneumonia or whatever else. So let's have a candle for Liam. We have a candle for a peaceful and democratic election. I'm going to say that was a small d, just because I'm up at the pulpit. All right. And a candle full recovery for Aaron Lausch with throat surgery. All right, so these are harder for me to decipher. Let me see if I can do this. Okay, on my birthday today, I'd like to celebrate the gifts of family and friends who have fed me, housed me, and taken care of my dog while I'm displaced, especially to my sister Lynn and Bart and Kate Renner. And Elizabeth, I'm guessing that's your handwriting. Yeah, thank you. A prayer for friend Peter Margolin for healing on all levels after a car accident this week. So our prayers for Peter. A prayer for discernment for all those voting in this week's election. Candle of thanks for all those working to help people displaced or impacted by Hurricane Helene. There are still so many needs. And as always, let's light a candle for those things not yet shared, held in the silence among the folks here in this room, or those who are online. Let's have that candle glow, and let's remember to connect with one another, reach out to one another, and let each other into our hearts and minds to know fully what's going on. This is how we weave the fabric of community. Thank you again, Gypsy. And you're up.
And I'm up. The chalice lighting, oh, we need that.
Oh, yeah, I need to help you.
The chalice lighting, love remains the center. We'll read it in unison. It's words by Eric Hepburn. We light this flame to remind us love is the center. As we grow and connect, mature and deepen, love remains the center. When the light of truth burns all else away, love remains. And
I've done things out of order.
yes, you did, so that's okay.
So now with our chalice lit, let us turn worthy and worth and dignity to each other.
The opening words are by Kahil Gibran. Then a woman said, "Speak to us of joy and sorrow." And he answered, "Your joy is your sorrow unmasked. And the selfsame well from which your laughter rises was ofttimes filled with your tears. And how else can it be? The deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. Is not the cup that holds your wine the very cup that was burned in the potter's oven? And is not the lute that serves your spirit the very wood that was hollowed with knives? When you are joyous, look deep into your heart, and you will find it is only that which has given you sorrow that is giving you joy. When you are sorrowful, look again in your heart, and you shall see that in truth you are weeping for that which has been your delight. Some of us say joy is greater than sorrow, and others say, nay, sorrow is greater. But I say unto you, they are inseparable. Together they come, and when one sits alone with you at your board, remember that the other is asleep upon your bed. Verily, you are suspended like scales between your sorrow and your joy. Only when you are empty are you at standstill and balanced. When the treasure keeper lifts you to weigh his gold and his silver, needs must your joy or your sorrow rise or fall. Let us now stand as we may for the opening hymn, which is number 18, What Wondrous Love.
I am excited. We had nearly a dozen folks sign the membership book this week. And we've got others who are waiting for the exact right moment to sign, who took the class. It is a privilege to have people come and say, not just they attend this place, but this is their congregation. Our membership team is coming forward to run the recognition ceremony, and those who are in the room ready to be recognized. We don't ask anything of you except that when you're called forward to come stand across the front, the whole front here, and you probably have to go from the microphone over to Jackson there to make the whole group. I know a couple of folks can't be here due to other commitments, but Kristen from membership team will come forward and lead this. At this mic or that mic, or I can hold my mic to you, like I did with Nancy. Okay.
For those at home. So, yeah, it's wonderful to have a moment to recognize our new members. So they all went through the orientation and they signed the book. And we want to thank you for your continuing presence in our congregation, not just as visitors, but now as members. It really warms my heart and all of your many other hearts in this room that you would choose to be and want to be part of our little community here. So I'm going to call you by name. Please come forward as was instructed by Reverend Bob. If someone is missing from the list who has signed the book this year and has never been through this little thing, just come up when I'm done and let me know your name. And we'll add you to the list, because we try to be perfect, but we are not always perfect. So in no order particularly, Travers Thurman. Welcome, Travers. John Seafelt, is he in the room? He may be with his sick child, in which case, is Stacy Seafelt in the room? Please join us, Stacy, and welcome. Lindsay Morris, please welcome. Jane Ramsey, welcome, Jane. And Gary Ramsey, I guess the other half of Karen Batten, please join us at the podium. Scott Ritter. Yay, Scott. Tessa Berkhammer. Is Tessa here? No, Tessa. All right, we'll get you next time. Speaking of next time, we wanted to welcome Bruce Tuxhorn and Loie Lukens today, and they will not be able to be with us, but we will remember them and welcome them another time. So I apologize that your back is to me, but we want the people at home to hear every wonderful word of welcome. So hear this and turn around if you want. We welcome you with enthusiasm and with joy, and we hope that these same feelings arise in your heart today. But as your time among us lengthens and grows, you will need to remember and be open to all that is true about any human endeavor. Sometimes when you walk into a UU congregation for the first time, you have this sense of, wow, here are my people. I think we've all experienced that feeling of joy to find a lovely congregation like this. But if you haven't noticed already, we are actually a very diverse group of people. If you went to my little history, you'll notice how many times in our history we welcomed different groups of people into our fold, and so that is our strength. But it also means that Reverend Bob will remind you, and I will remind you, that there are going to be times when we're not always going to live up to your hopeful and joyful expectations of us, because people and we do not always get everything right. So sometimes we get things wrong. But at those moments, please remember that the strength of our congregation is when members retain that vision of who we really could and be and want to be and should be. And you bring your personal gifts to the quest of urging us forward in that vision. It's always a process. And take us to where we should be, and nurture, educate, and lead us toward being our best selves. And we are all endeavoring the same. Each of you brings a perspective that is unique, and you will find unique perspectives here. As the philosophy that is ascribed to the Unitarian preacher Francis David of the late 1500s, Transylvania, the first European in Transylvania of Romania, once said in the 1500s, "We need not think alike to love alike." So I'd like Susan to come forward. We have a little gift for you, and it's a little token. The two circles, it's a pin with our little symbol in it. The two circles represent the overlapping traditions of Unitarianism and Universalism, and the light in the middle. We hope you wear them with joy and with pride. So now, the congregation, it's your turn. Please join me in the responsive reading, "We Bid You Welcome." It is written by Reverend Richard S. Gilbert. It's number 442 in your hymn book if you have one, or it'll be on the screen. We bid you welcome, you who come with weary spirits seeking rest. We bid troubles that do not trouble you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome, who come with hope in your heart, who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome, you seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore, who come to learn. We bid you welcome to enter this hall as a homecoming. You have found here room for your spirit, who have found in this people a family. Wherever you are, wherever you're on your journey, we bid you welcome. And before you go back to your seat, Reverend Bob has a blessing.
And I use this blessing for child dedications as well. May your thoughts be wise. May your lips speak truth. May your hearts know love. And may the work of your hands be blessed all the days of your life. Amen. Kevin and children will now be getting ready to head to their classes. Looks like Jackson has the light to carry. Thank you, Jackson. That's good. Peace be with you and a blessing. Peace be with you and a blessing. Peace be with you and a blessing as you leave us now. You know, one of the things that I appreciate in this congregation is the way in which you vote to give added benefit to the community, not just being here, not just being active in the community, but doing something even more for some of the special organizations that make a difference. I'm going to invite Donna Rayburn to come forward and tell you about this month's special collection for the envelope in the basket.
Good morning. I'm thrilled to tell you about my favorite charity, Sharing House. Sharing House is devoted to helping low-income or no-income neighbors enjoy a sustainable life in an increasingly expensive community. Our pantry is filled with vegetables, fruits, canned goods, breads, desserts, dairy products, frozen meats, pet food, household products, personal hygiene items, diapers and pads for all ages, and a variety of over-the-counter medicines. Our clothing room keeps our neighbors cool in the summer, warm in the winter, and dry in rainy weather. In August, we give each child who signs up a backpack full of school supplies specific to their grade and school, plus a new pair of sneakers. In December, parents joyfully choose lovely gifts for their children. What a happy time of year for the volunteers, and we get to dress up in Santa things. When available, we give a used car to a grateful neighbor who has been on a long waiting list. We use monetary contributions to buy supplies that aren't donated or we're out of. For example, we need men's underwear, t-shirts, and warm gloves desperately. We so appreciate all of you for supporting us in the past. Thank you in advance for your help again this month. And here's the basket.
We will now receive the morning offering. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Joanna. For all that's given with love, we say, thank you. I invite you into this time of prayer and silence, in whatever ways you ground yourself, in whatever ways breathing deep, putting your feet on the ground, taking the tension out. Let us enter this time. Spirit of love and life, we who are gathered here this morning come with anxieties, with feelings of anticipation. We have come through a period in which folks will dress up in the most scary way whatsoever, demand candy, and roam the streets at night. Spirit of love and life, we know that this has become a childhood ritual, and yet for all of us, there is a sense, and we pray that we find the way to put on a costume or a mask that is intended to let the scary stuff go. For some, putting on a mask, pretend, is a way of hiding, so that those who would do injury do not notice. For some, putting it on is to own a piece of humanity and the way in which we feel the scariness in ourselves. Spirit of love and life, in whatever way we embrace our wholeness, may we do so. Spirit of love and life, our candles glow this morning with hopes and prayers for those who might lead us, hopes and prayers for those who are still discerning how to make a decision, hopes and prayers that we might make it through yet another election season, hopes and prayers that in whatever may happen, we remember our humanity and our connection to all. Our prayers continue to go out to all who are helping in the aftermath of Helene and the storms and the so many needs in our community, those who are working to restore our infrastructure, those who are working to bring fresh water to those who are thirsty, those who will find clothing and shelter, those many ways in which we recognize we survive, that we might then one day thrive again. Our prayers go out to those in particular who helped take in and feed and clothe and shower on this day in particular. The thanks for sisters and the renters and the others who were named in our hearts who did this for us, taking us in. Our prayers for those who are ill, for Peter Margolin after his car accident, for Erin Lausch after her throat surgery, for Bruce Tuxhorn after his surgery, for Liam, who's been dragged down by illness this whole week. For all of them and many others, our hopes for healing go out. Our readiness and standby and support and love for families are here. May they know that. Spirit of love and life, indeed, may that be our motto. We pray that we are known for love. We are praying that those who may not have heard it recently can hear that from us and see it and feel it with all their senses. This and the prayers of our hearts we hold now in the silence. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say, Amen, blessed be.
Good morning.
Good morning, Julie.
This song I wrote over 20 years ago, and it's really perfect for this particular time because back then I had won third place in a songwriting contest that sent me to Nashville for a 3-day wonderful seminars and singing and going to the Grand Ole Opry. Well, after the first day of the songwriting workshops, 30 of us from all over the United States were handed a piece of paper with one word on it. And we were told to go home, or hotel for me, and write a song, lyrics and music, to workshop the next day. And I won. The word I was given was eagle. Eagle. Now, my father's a bird colonel. And I had been through Hurricane Charlie Francis and Jean in Florida. I don't know if any of you ever heard about that. But I was sitting in my closet, and all of the roofs all over were falling down, crashing, as I was sitting in the bathroom, hoping that I'd be okay. My husband was up in Chicago doing a show. And this song is about courage and bravery and faith. Some days are scary and you feel too weak to stand. The winds of change blow through your life and there is no helping hand. You feel like a sparrow, so tiny and frail, but God knows you have the strength to fly through hell. Take the path of the eagle and fly into that storm. Spread your wings and do a million things you've never done before. Strong winds can lift you up or tear you apart. What matters is what's in your heart. And you know year after year. What makes someone successful isn't how they got their start. What matters is what's in your heart. Take a path of the eagle and fly into that storm. Spread your wings and do a million things you've never done before. Strong winds can lift you up or tear you apart. What matters is what's in your heart. And you know God is there, been there from the start. The power's not in the wind, it's in your heart.
Just wanted to share with you that Gypsy agreed to go on a hot air balloon ride with me in the spring to do one of those million things we've never done before.
You know, I'm going to use that in my sermon. I am. The reading is from the words of Adrienne Marie Brown, and from her website, I see that Adrienne Marie Brown uses she, they pronouns, is growing a garden of healing ideas informed by 27 years of movement facilitation, somatic, science fiction scholarship, and doula work. Adrienne has nurtured emergent strategy, pleasure activism, radical imagination, and loving correction as ideas and practices for transformation. Adrienne is the New York Times best-selling author, editor of several published texts, a ritual singer, songwriter, co-generator of the Lineages of Change tarot deck, and co-creator host of How to Survive the End of the World podcast with Autumn Brown. Does this sound like a good person to read from for today? Love and Liberation. This is from Emergent Strategy. One thing I've observed, when we're engaged in acts of love, we humans are at our best and most resilient. The love in romance that makes us want to be better people. The love of children that makes us change our whole lives to meet their needs. The love of family that makes us drop everything to take care of them. The love of community that makes us work tirelessly with broken hearts. Perhaps humans' core function is love. Love leads us to observe in a much deeper way than any other emotion. I think of how delightful it is to see something new in my lovers' faces, something that they may only know from inside as a feeling. If love were the central practice of a new generation of organizers and spiritual leaders, it would have a massive impact on what was considered organizing. If the goal was to increase the love rather than winning or dominating a constant opponent, I think we could actually imagine liberation from constant oppression. We would suddenly be seeing everything we do, everyone we meet, not through the tactical eyes of war, but through the eyes of love. We would see that there's no such thing as a blank canvas, an empty land, or a new idea, but everywhere there is complex, ancient, fertile ground full of potential. We would organize with the perspective that there is wisdom and experience, an amazing story in the communities we love. And instead of starting up new ideas or organizations all the time, we'd want to listen, support, collaborate, merge, and grow through fusion, not competition. We would understand that the strength of our movement is in the strength of our relationships, which could only be measured by their depth. Scaling up would mean going deeper, being more vulnerable, and more empathetic. new members, joy, wonder, children in our midst, longtime friends. We made it through Helene. What are all those T-shirts I'm seeing? I saw some of them at Halloween Fest. Where did you get your T-shirt? Something like Western North Carolina Strong, or we made it, or whatever it is. How do you prepare for repair? How do you prepare for repair? Think about it. What do you do to be ready for something that might need fixing? Go ahead. Think in your brain. What have you done to prepare? What did you do to prepare for Helene? What did you do to prepare for just, hey, my water heater is now 20 years old. Maybe I should be prepared for something. We replaced one right here in this church. I try to look up things that people can do to be stronger, ready for what's coming. This one was on fragile bones, elderhood. At any age, daily weight-bearing exercise, such as walking, are necessary for bone health. Check with your doctor about an appropriate exercise program for you. There are also some things you can do to reduce your risk for bone fractures, like wear sensible shoes and minimize clutter around the house, take a balance training course, chair yoga, or Tai Chi. But what if I changed that and said, how do you prepare for an election? Ooh, daily weight-bearing exercises, going for walks, checking with your doctor, wear sensible shoes, minimize clutter in your life. Yeah. Chair yoga, Tai Chi. I think I told you after the storm, I watched one of the poplar trees in the woods behind our house go like this far. I don't know if it's 45 degrees, but it was pretty far over. And it was staying there for the longest time in that wind, and then it came back up again. You know, the way elections go, it tries to make us like rigid. Oh, you got to be this way or that way. That poplar tree is still there. It did this. If you are one of those people who manages to make it through an election season and can still bend, come on, touch your toes, do whatever, to be flexible, you're probably ready for what comes next. But you know what I saw? I saw a whole lot of trees that were rigid. And what do? They snap or uprooted. So many trees were the roots. So I'm thinking, I was taught that you can break a single pencil, but a bundle of pencils, you can't do it. I was taught that being part of a community, being part of a congregation, was part of living a life that had a longer health span. People who go to church tend to have better health spans. I think that's roots. And I think it's bundling. I don't think you will break if you are bundling with folks around you. I don't think you will topple over if you're tending to your roots and knowing that it's deep in soil. Now, I did not park under those pine trees next to our parking lot because they have like this much space to put roots. And we already had one pine come down like a year and a half ago, almost on top of one of our homeless people who was living in their car in there. Room for your roots. Good soil and keeping them. All right. But how do you prepare for repair? It happens because we know that we can do work together and we can recover together. I remember a story from when I was at a different church, but it reminds me a lot of me looking at the grow-getters here in this congregation. There were many individuals working to make a difference on the grounds. And it takes a lot of effort for a property to look cared for. So I shared this joke from a Building Your Own Theology class with a congregational leader who's my partner in pulling up blackberry bushes. Ooh, thorny things, aren't they? The joke goes something like this. A priest comes up to a gardener and in admiration says, "You and the Lord have done fine work in this beautiful garden." The gardener, exhausted from a long day's labor, looks straight into the priest's eyes and retorts back, "You should have seen the place when God was working here alone." Our UU tradition, our Unitarian Universalist tradition, says we have some control over making a difference. Ours is a tradition which says we carry the best of what we learn and our talents into helping to shape and guide the things that are important. Ours is a tradition where we believe we can all work together and bring beauty to the fore, despite the weeds and the lack of divine intervention, other than perhaps the ways our hearts have been moved towards love and away from destruction. Prepare to repair. The gorgeous grounds at UUTC did not happen with neglect. The gorgeous thriving after the election will not happen without working together. There was a reading in our this month's packet that had a great deal of meaning to me from our Soul Matters theme packet. Those of you who don't know, there are about 50 people who get this at home, work out at home study guide. I'll directly quote it. It says, "As difficult as it is to absorb, it seems we were made to be broken. Broken open, to be exact. Remember what the Canadian sage said, cracks are how the light gets in. Broken hearts hurt, but they also let in and allow us to connect with the pain of others. Protected hearts may seem safe, but our armor only ends up being a straitjacket. It's one of the most important but paradoxical spiritual truths that there is. Broken people end up bigger people. Because of the cracks in our heart, it becomes capable of expanding. Because we've been torn, who we are no longer ends at the barrier of our own skin. It seems this is what it really means to be repaired and made whole." And I'd like to have an image on the screen from Japanese artistry. Just look at this for a moment. Kintsugi. Kintsugi. There's beauty in the broken. Kintsugi is a Japanese art that repairs broken pottery with gold, rendering a new piece that is more exquisite than it was before the break. It literally means to join with gold. What is the most valuable thing that we have to give? I would say our readings have said love over and over again. Love. to pour the love into the spots of brokenness, to bond what was once useful, then broken, back into something that is even more amazing than originally. Love, repair. This whole month we will be talking about repair. And this is one of those images I would like you to have as you go out into the world. As broken as we may be, it is because, as Gibran said in the reading that Gypsy had this morning, it says, broken as we may be, it reminds us of how love had flown and hope had flown so deep as to carve places, like the Grand Canyon in our heart. And it's ready to be filled again. Or as it was said by the other reading, to be broken is to leave space for our heart to expand and let more in. When I hear that Gypsy and Julie are going to go off and do things that they haven't done before, it reminds me that we have to have a plan for what happens after the thing we're most nervous about. Before I went to the Ministerial Fellowship Committee for the first time to see if I could become a minister in the Unitarian Universalist tradition, somebody told me, have a plan of what you're doing immediately afterwards. Because that's a make or break kind of thing. It's like a job interview. What if it doesn't go well? What if I don't get it? Or any other big deal thing in life, have a plan for what you're doing after. What are you doing Tuesday night? What are you doing Wednesday? What are you doing a month from now? What are you doing that keeps your eye on what feeds you, connects you, invigorates you? And have it written down and have it up here. I was going to go out for deep dish pizza with Christy. That worked out really well. What are you going to do? Have that in your heart. Know that you're going to do that. Because the world does not end on Tuesday. The world for you only ends when you have stopped thinking what you're doing next. I'm going to close the sermon at this point and ask that we sing into that. Sing into that moment. Number 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest round me roars? I know the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails Our closing words are of Eric Hepburn, who was also our opening words. You can join with me just as you did with the chalice lighting. We extinguish this flame to remind us love is the center. As we explore and rest, engage and heal, love remains the center. When all we can see is cold ashes, love remains. Blessings on all of you. For our light has gone out, but not our love. For our service has closed, and yet our true service to one another in community is ongoing. Go out into this world with love and return again with joy. Even if you have no other plan, come back to us next week. Blessings on all of you.